Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
The power of pain compels you!
The movie that I'm going to be reviewing today is the textbook definition of no matter which side you choose, it's going to be a losing battle. And that, of course, is the brand new reboot of one of the most legendary films in 1980s pop culture, Ivan Reitman's Ghostbusters. This time around, directed by Paul Feig, and keeping in the same traditions, a couple of Saturday Night Live cast members. But there is a little bit of a twist, if you want to put it that way. It's an all-female Ghostbusters. So, was I upset when I heard that this was something that was going to be happening? Honestly, not at all. I was very much welcoming another Ghostbusters movie. I was very much welcoming an all-female Ghostbusters cast, especially considering the actresses that they had chosen to fill these uniforms, as they should say. I was very excited for something that could possibly be a very good movie. It was a very entertaining movie, but it is far from perfect. And quite frankly, this was not a whole mythos, meaning Ghostbusters, that was something that was such a major piece of my childhood. Actually, I was 19 years old when I finally saw the first Ghostbusters movie. The second one was one that I actually saw in my youth, and quite frankly, I really didn't remember it. And I really enjoyed them after I finally saw them both in their entirities and remembered them. The only thing that I am going to say as a fan in regards to this brand new reboot of Ghostbusters, I feel that if this actually was Ghostbusters 3, with a couple of additional things that could have made it Ghostbusters 3, which was the actual original plan of this reboot, because I remember when they first greenlit a third Ghostbusters film, and how they finally had gotten all 4 cast members, because some were more enthusiastic than others, saying, yes, let's do this, this is great. And then, of course, unfortunately, Harold Ramis passes away, and then everything is officially in the toilet, but they say, no, we're going to keep going, and they say, let's do it this way. So, what did I actually enjoy in this movie? I loved the fact that this time around in the story, we do get a lot more of a development of the technology that they use to bust the ghosts. Because in the first Ghostbusters, they use the technology, but we really don't see them building it and improving it. And there's also so many different ways that this female Ghostbusters crew captures ghosts. And I found it very entertaining, especially when they were testing it. I thought that there were parts of the movie that were very, very funny, especially when it came to Chris Hemsworth. He is now the perfect man who knows how to play the village idiot, and he plays it so well. You are absolutely going to love him in this movie. And I will say, the highlight of this movie for me was Kate McKinnon as Holtzman. I loved the fact that she was just so freaking zany, but at the same time, I loved how passionate she was about putting her whole life into her work and fighting for the cause. And she probably had some of the best and most hilarious one-liners in this movie, because every time she was on the screen, I was just saying to myself, holy crap, what is she going to do next? Because she cannot possibly top the last thing that she did. But then there's the rest of the cast. Not saying that they were bad, but I felt that Melissa McCarthy just did not do as great of a job as I really wanted her to, and she's worked with Paul Feig many times. She's fantastic in Bridesmaids. She's very funny in Spy, but for this movie, I kind of felt that she missed the mark. Kristen Wiig started off very strong, but then she just crashed and burned as the movie went on. Leslie Jones was great, but I feel that they underutilized her. I wanted to see her more. Quite frankly, I feel that she had just as much screen time as another Saturday Night Live female cast member who does show up later on in the movie, and I'm actually very happy because I would have preferred her as one of the Ghostbusters, but to know that she was actually in the movie, I was very happy to see her, and when you see this movie, you will definitely know who I'm talking about. Also, one of the other weaker points of this movie had to be Rowan the villain. I don't understand this character. He was just this bullied loser that decided to do what he did when it came to the ghosts surrounding New York City. He barely had a story. He was so awkward and stupid. I just didn't appreciate a villain like this, because the Ghostbusters films have had maybe not necessarily the strongest of villains, but in this movie it was definitely one of the weaker of the bunch. It's not as funny as I thought it was going to be. The jokes were very staged and truly fell flat. I didn't really feel a connection with these characters. And also there's a lot of tribute to the original, especially when it comes to guest appearances. But they felt so forced, and I just felt that they were so out of place. Except for one specific cast member from the old movie who shows up and says, which I think is one of the most classic lines from the original Ghostbusters, "My fiance and I were laughing hysterically, and everybody else thought that we were completely out of our minds because nobody understood why." A true Ghostbusters appreciator and fan would totally understand that specific moment in the film. I feel that this movie just let so many people down. Even though it is very entertaining, this movie should have been Ghostbusters 3, especially because of the fact that all of the original cast, minus Harold Ramis, who makes an appearance, they could have easily had them just say, okay, it's time to continue on the legacy. Let's find a couple of people that are just as passionate in paranormal activity as we are, and let's make a new generation of Ghostbusters. Heck, we could have had one of the ladies related to one of the original Ghostbusters, or had a family member that was a former student of one of them, because they were professors and doctors. Maybe even have one of them be inspired from the original attack on New York City in 1984, and just say, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a Ghostbuster. And that also leads to another thing that I feel really let me down with this film. The appreciation for the Ghostbusters. Throughout the entire movie, they are looked at as a joke. In the original movie, there is the point in time where they go to defeat Zool and Gozer, and there's crowds of people cheering them on. There are police officers saluting them, ready to see them get the job done. And in this new movie, you get an ending that is just rushed and just a quick thing to put together to show the appreciation for the Ghostbusters. And to me, it just was an epic fail. But is this movie worth seeing? I'm gonna tell you the truth, maybe. If you love Ghostbusters and you want to give this movie a chance, like I did, I would definitely say go see it in theaters. Maybe not spend the full admission price, but definitely give it a shot. And I really don't plan on seeing this movie numerous times. Maybe if it's on HBO or Netflix, I'll give it another watch, remembering the good points of the movie, and I definitely don't want to buy this movie on DVD because I'm quite satisfied with the original ones. So Ghostbusters, I am just going to give 2 out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please put your comments in the box below, and let's have a civil conversation on Ghostbusters. I am split right down the middle here, because that's just the way that I felt about it. I'm not trying to cause any controversy. I've seen it, and those are my thoughts, and that's the way it is. So for now, I am the Lawn Gnome. Thank you very much for watching, and actions speak louder than words.